With the release of Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies, we've been able to see how different this game is, and I've decided to gather some tips and tricks whilst I've been playing. And if you're a new player or a pro player, however good or bad you are, I think there's going to be something here for you. Especially considering how different Vanguard Zombies is from what we're used to, I think it'd be good to share some stuff I've picked up on. And I've also noticed that this game can be quite difficult. So here are 9 tips and tricks for Vanguard Zombies. Starting with the first one, try point building as early as possible. Points in Vanguard Zombies are not given out very plentifully, and with how expensive everything is, like perks, pack-a-punch, and even the box can get pretty pricey, don't go blowing your points on stuff that you don't need to buy, and instead take advantage of those early rounds and point build as much as you can. Now, a way to do this is if you are in a game mode that isn't Blitz, so zombies will just spawn unlimitedly, whereas with Blitz, you're on a timer and so you can't really choose how long you stay. Just go into any other game mode, such as the escort mission, and that way an unlimited amount of zombies will come, so long as you don't keep progressing the head in the cage and taking that to its destination. Just stay where you are and let all the zombies come in, and you're not going to need to worry about any ammo or anything, because ammo is extremely plentiful in this game and zombies drop it all the time. There's most likely going to be an ammo crate near you as well, and you're going to want to be getting as many headshots as you can to be able to maximize your point gain. This is also good for camo challenges as well. No bosses will spawn either because you're on an early round, and so it should be a pretty easy way of getting some points for you. You can take as long as you need to until you feel like you have enough points, and then return back to the hub. The next tip I'm going to give here is that shotguns are best guns. Although ARs and LMGs really do stand strong, I think that shotguns should always be carried in this mode, especially considering how close quarters a lot of it is. Walk up to the zombie and just blast them away. You don't even need to barrel stuff them, but depending on the range of your shotgun, then I guess you should. But like I said, most of the time you definitely don't need to. Shotguns are really effective in this game. The main takeaway from this tip is just to make sure that you are carrying a shotgun pretty much at all times, because they are going to be so useful to you, not just early game, but also in the late game when those rounds are getting higher, the zombies are getting tougher, and you find yourself in a bit of a pickle. The mini bosses are going to get very hectic as well, so having a shotgun once again helps with this a lot. Don't worry though, we'll talk about those chunky boys later on. If I had to give a recommendation on what shotgun to grab if you get the choice, I'm going to recommend the Einhorn revolving shotgun. That one seems to be really effective. And then another one that stood out to me was the combat shotgun, which is the pump action one that's in the game. Both are really good and are probably the best ones in the game right now. If there are any better shotguns though, then let me know. On their own they're good, but when you pack punch them to at least tier 1, they get really good and they stay really good for a long time. As for attachments, I'm not really sure. I mean, if you guys want me to go and look for some really good attachments and make a good shotgun loadout build, then let me know. But as it stands, shotguns are best guns. On to our third tip. This one's a bit of an obvious one, but with how hard zombies hit in this game and how easy it is to just go down, I need to tell you this: get Jug ASAP. I honestly even recommend making sure that it's the first barrier you open before going and opening any others. And if you don't know how the barriers work in this game, when you spawn into your hub world in Der Anfang, you're going to need to go into a portal, and then once you do the objective in said portal, it will open the barrier that's near it. So in the case of Jug, you're going to want to be opening the one that goes to the main street and leads to the office. If you're unsure of where this is, I made a little perk guide video. I show all the locations of the perks. If you need a little help finding them so you know which doors to open when you spawn, then go watch that. It's not a very long video. Now, coming up to our next tip is going to be to shoot the little crystals that you can see around the map. They're easy to miss. They don't stand out as much as the Dark Ether crystals did in Cold War, but they're these little red crystals that are coming up from the ground. They are marked on your minimap as well, so shoot them. You can get some salvage, equipment, all of that good stuff. And open chests as well, you can see these around the map, and these can drop your weapons, equipment, more salvage. Just keep an eye open for these things because they're pretty convenient and they may help towards getting that level 3 armor or a new weapon. Another tip I'm going to throw out there is to not forget about your covenants, aka your boons, that give you little upgrades. You'll find them at this covenant shrine in the hub world at spawn, and the currency used are these sacrificial hearts. You can see how many of these you have in the bottom left corner of your screen. I'm going to recommend saving these for the first couple of rounds because the upgrades are going to get so much better in the space of a few rounds, so just save them, and you'll have enough for the even better tiers of these upgrades, but just don't forget about them because it is very easy to do. From what I can tell, you get these by completing objectives, and eventually they just kind of stack up, so it's definitely not a bad thing to wait and buy the better covenants and get the kind of build you want. Remember when I gave the first tip about point building and I said go for critical hits / headshots? Well, this is the reason why I said that. This tip is going to be to not melee because it is not point effective by any means. You only get 25 points for a melee kill, which is just so strange because zombies has never been like that. I don't really know why you're punished for getting up close and personal and taking risks as opposed from staying back and getting headshots, but that's just the way it is. So whilst you're point building, don't bother going for melee kills. It's only going to serve as a detriment. You're just going to be losing out on points. Only melee if it's an emergency, but if you have a shotgun or something, that should not be a problem. A really interesting tip here, and something I want to throw out because a lot of people will probably get this one mixed up, is that higher tier weapons are actually Pack-a-Punched. There's no rarity system that stands next to Pack-a-Punch. Pack-a-Punch and the rarity system are now the same thing. So if there's a blue weapon on the floor, it's going to be tier 1. If it's purple, tier 2. You get the idea. Usually in Cold War, you would have to go to an armor station and upgrade rarity on a weapon separately, and now you have to Pack-a-Punch it, and you kinda get both effects. And since we're on about the weapon upgrade system, something I'll add on to this is that you don't get double Pack-a-Punch ammo mods from double Pack-a-Punching. You actually have to get these as the boons from the Covenant Shrine. As of right now, the only ones I've seen that apply to weapons are Brain Rot and Cryo Freeze. So be aware that not only has the weapon rarity system changed, but also Pack-a-Punch and ammo mods. On to the 8th tip. There is a big guy with a machine gun, and he doesn't take too kindly to you. Can I just say here, I hate that this guy's in the game. I hate when zombies are capable of shooting back at you. But anyway, when you encounter this guy, he doesn't come straight away. He's on like the higher rounds. He'll fire shots in bursts. So he'll do one burst of a machine gun and spray it for a couple of seconds, and then he'll stop. If you go close to him, he'll try and melee you, and if he hits you, you will feel it. It will take a lot of health off of you, and so you don't want to get too close to him. I think the optimal way for killing this guy is one of two ways. The first thing you can do is take full advantage of the cover system and the mountain system. Just stay in cover, peek round corners, and just go for headshots, because headshots are his weakness. Don't bother shooting at his body, by the way. And then the other system, which I prefer doing this one, is to just run up to this mad lad and then just barrel stuff him with a shotgun or whatever gun you're using. Shotguns do the trick really well, and since he can't turn around very fast, you can just run up to him, barrel stuff, shoot, 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 go behind him, and rinse and repeat, because he won't be able to turn around very quickly. But remember, watch out for that melee. And this one's going to be a bit of a situational thing, and maybe this will get patched, but from what I've noticed, and maybe this doesn't happen every time, but there have been a lot of times where I have climbed on top of a box, and for some reason, I don't think he can shoot upwards. I've done this a fair few times, so if this definitely does work, then take full advantage. I'm pretty sure the box has to be a little bigger than him, and it should work. And whilst we're talking about this big chungus boy, he can actually drop self-revives if you kill him. He can also drop pack-a-punched weapons, but keep an eye out for those self-revives because they are going to be very useful, especially considering you need to be a very high level to unlock self-revives. And for our last tip, tip number 9 is going to be to get the Motherlode Boon, and if you don't know what this is, it has a chance to let you keep equipment when it's used. Now this trick is something I found and I just had to share this. If you get a breach charge with this Motherlode Boon, you can throw a breach charge and then keep picking it up until it doesn't use a breach charge out of your inventory. And so if you pick it up, then it adds another one onto it. So if you just keep throwing one and picking it up until you throw one, it stays as 1 instead of going down to 0. Pick it up and then you'll have 2, and you can essentially just duplicate these breach charges, and because they're so good as well, this is something I advise doing. The maximum you can hold is 3, and if you just do this trick, you will never ever run out of them. You're very welcome for that one. I'm sure there's some really good high round strats waiting to happen. But anyways, they have been 9 tips and tricks, or probably a few little bonus tips in there as well, for Vanguard zombies. This game is very different, and so hopefully these tips will help you kind of adapt to how abnormal this game feels. If you enjoyed the video or found this helpful, then be sure to smash the like button. Comment your thoughts on Vanguard zombies down below. I think we all have a lot to say, so come vent in the comments, and only a very small percentage of people are even subscribed to the channel. channel, so if you've made it this far and you want more COD Zombies content, then subscribe to the channel, you won't regret it. Turn on the notification bell too to stay notified whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.